with these events that you speak at, you deal every event with the meeting professionals, event marketers, event producers, keynote curators.
Yeah.
What do you see that event professionals, and maybe it's tools, maybe it's not, how this, this new realm, this new domain, this new horizon of technology in an industry that is so human-centered and so reliant on meaningful experiences and meaningful connections, how do you see that being leveraged, being used, being recontextualized? Again, your second serving of word salad.
Yeah, you mean by the event organizers or event planners themselves?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's good and bad, right? And I think we're all just learning. We're all sort of figuring out how to use new tools in our workflow and adapt our workflow accordingly. So, to be fair, I think some of this is learning on the job and figuring it out, trial and error, that sort of thing. But I have seen some uses where some of the event planners seem just as agile as I am with generative AI and maybe able to whip up a description or something like that right on the fly as we're on a call and we sort of review it and we can say good to go. That's a
Sure.
great adaptation of my existing topic into something that's a little more tuned to this audience. We're set,
Right.
and that kind of thing
Right.
is easy and smart and a really good use. I have also seen, I did this keynote, a virtual keynote a couple of years ago for a group in Ukraine that was about, how Ukraine could rebuild after the war and using tech and AI. And it was a really meaningful thing to be able to do and feel good about. And then one of the organizers used one of these generative AI image tools, like a photo tool, to sort of face tune my headshot. And it came out looking so weird and cartoonish and caricatured.
Yeah.
I looked actually like Aubrey Plaza, which was very strange because I think she's incredible looking and amazing, but I don't look like Aubrey Plaza.
Right.
So it was a really weird moment. And I sent them back a message and I was just like, I think you meant well. And I think this is something that maybe it's even generational because they were much younger, the organizers,
Right.
than I. And so they may have thought like, this is a thing we're just doing with all our speakers. But I said, if you wouldn't mind, I feel like setting it back to my original headshot just feels more in line with my message and my values and kind of the integrity of what I'm about. And they apologized and put it back and everything. But I think those kinds of things are just, when we're going to run up against them. We're going to run up against the usages and the ways that different people think are appropriate to use tools differently. And we're just going to have to sort that out. We're seeing it a lot with things like automated note takers in Zoom calls and things like that, right? Like people sending in. And I think it's totally understood that people will bring in note takers with them when they're having meetings around like planning an event. Cause I want to make sure I'm catching all the details and I can go back and replay it or search later when it comes closer to the event. But then there are some instances where people are sort of delegating their attendance to the robot note taker and then not showing up to the meeting. And that feels a little weirdly privileged in a way that's a little insulting to the rest of the attendees. So I think it's just stuff like that. We're at a transitional point where I think we're just learning the new rules and the new ropes, with all of this stuff. And we're just going to have to sort it out as we go.